Good morning, everybody. Last year was certainly a year of surprises. Some not so good, and some very unexpected and very good surprises. So just before lockdown, we decided to bring my dad and let him come and stay in our house for a couple of weeks. And after 2 days of having him here, I realized I needed somebody to help me look after him because he had got quite frail. And so we asked around, and one of the guys that works with Ed and that helps build, he said his wife had just qualified as a carer. So Margaret arrived on Saturday before lockdown, which was going to happen that following Thursday, and she said yes, she'd be willing to come and look after my dad for those 2 weeks, come and live in our house and just help us out. And then on Monday, with the COVID kind of just out there and not really knowing, we decided that she needed to actually come and live in our house for those 2 weeks and not leave. And then Thursday the lockdown happened. And what was supposed to turn out to be like a 2-week period turned out to be 75 days. So Margaret was locked in our house with my dad and with Ed and I. Our son also arrived from Joburg. So for 75 days, our household went from 2 to 5. Now Margaret, I did not know from a bar of soap. And having somebody live in your house for 75 days, you really get to know them. And during that time, we got to talk about the Lord. She participated in church, home group meetings, online prayer meetings, and she was an absolute blessing. I just felt like I had another sister in the house. And Margaret was just an amazing carer to my dad. And she had such a genuine love for my dad, and I could see that was because of her relationship with Jesus Christ. Anyway, after lockdown, and after 75 days, she finally could go home to be with her husband and to be with her children. And during lockdown, I was so impressed because it was her husband that now had to cook and clean and look after the children. And every morning she would message them and just encourage them and her children, her husband and her children, just to say she was fine and how were they doing. And I was so impressed with Margaret, and I grew to love her. Anyway, after lockdown, she didn't have any work, so I recommended her to Michaela. And Michaela helps run the PFRA, which our church I think owns and runs, and it's a retirement or a frail care center for the aged. And so she then had an interview and then was employed. So Margaret's life was radically changed because of having to come and live with us during lockdown, and our exposure to her, and then her exposure to the One Life Church. And her and her husband have now joined One Life Church, and they're part of the World's View team, and we are so excited to have them with us. So blessed, in fact. And because of One Life too, she is now employed full-time. And so I just was so excited about all these little links and all these little chains, and so grateful to God because this was His planning, this was His plan, this was His purpose for Margaret. And she's become a very dear friend of ours, and her husband is totally employed by the church as well to build our new church building, World's View Church building, which is now up. It's got a roof, it's got a slabs, the walls are busy being built right now. And who ever thought that you could build a building during last year and the beginning of this year, with all the lockdowns, with all the restrictions, with all the uncertainties. But God is greater, God is bigger, and we are so excited for what the future holds. And so this is one of those great stories, and I hope that you're encouraged by it, and I send much love to every single one of you ladies. God bless. Bye.